Hello, 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 hello. We are live. Welcome back to another everyday English lesson right here on English Outside the Box. So, if you're new, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. If you're not new, welcome back. I definitely recognize a couple of names here in the chat. Now, I am Jennifer Nascimento. If you are new and if you have never joined me for a live lesson before, Jennifer Nascimento from English Outside the Box. Now, English Outside the Box helps connect you to everyday English skills. Now, these skills are what you need to live comfortably, to speak confidently in your daily life. So if you need English for work, if you need English for university, passing the TOEFL, traveling more confidently, wherever you might need English in your day-to-day life, I'm here to help you do it. These everyday English lessons help connect you to those skills. So yeah, we have a lot of familiar faces here. Awesome. So I want to know before we begin, as you saw from the title of this video, we are talking about English fluency. What is English fluency? And we're talking about goals, setting goals. We're going to talk a little bit about what some goals are. So I need to know what your goals are and what you think fluency is. So if you are watching this video live, participate, comment, engage in the chat box. Write down right now your goals, one or maybe two goals if you have them, and what you think English fluency is. If you're watching the replay of this video, that's still great. You're still going to get all of the benefits from this live lesson. If you're watching the replay of this video, take a moment and comment your goal in fluency below this video on a piece of paper in your notebook or on the blog when you're reading it on the blog. As a very quick announcement, I want to tell you really quickly that I don't use notes or a lot of visuals in these live lessons because I like to give you the opportunity to practice listening skills, to connect with a native speaker, practicing your listening. And if you need to read the lesson notes, if you need the visuals and you want to see the examples, after this broadcast is over, you can read the full lesson, the blog notes, and watch the replay on my website, which is englishoutsidethebox.com. Click on blog and free lessons, and you'll be able to review the notes from this lesson. But okay, what is English fluency? I'm going to read some of this in the chat. A lot of Brazil. Hello, Brazil. I know we have Pehi here, Paris, Malaysia. Awesome. And Adriana B, you need a goal right now. You have to set a goal. We're going to help you set a goal today. I'd like to speak English fluency and understand everything you say. It's hard to say it quickly. Douglas, understand TV series and movies without subtitles. Fluency is to be able to communicate your ideas using the language without much effort. Fluency is speaking without hesitation. Edelson Lobo, my last name is Brazilian. Yeah, oh, yes, Soba. Yes, there we go. Hello, Austria. Who's here? I don't believe Douglas. Oh, okay. So we're going into the chat. So as you can see, there are a couple of different ideas of what fluency is. There are also a couple of other goals. So let's talk a little bit about what the definition of fluency is. Now, the definition of fluency from my favorite English learner's dictionary is fluency is the ability to speak a foreign language, to speak, to communicate easily and effectively. Easily and effectively, okay? But we saw just in this chat that it's being able to speak and understand. It's being able to, watch a TV series, speaking without hesitation, understanding what's said. So a part of fluency is more than just speaking. Some students think fluency is their accent, having better pronunciation, having a less strong of an accent. Some people think fluency is being able to achieve a 27 on a TOEFL exam, and that is speaking, but there are some other things related. So fluency is going to be different for every individual. And let me elaborate. Let me give some more details about that. First, that the words in the definition, easily and effectively are subjective. It's not a fact. They're open to opinion. What's easy for me is not going to be easy for you. And what's easy for you may be incredibly challenging for somebody else. So there are two questions that you need to ask yourself to be able to identify your goal and to be able to work and achieve fluency in English. Now, what I mean by that is I want you to think about these two questions. Are you ready? The first question is, what is English fluency? When will you know that you are fluent? When will you feel that you have reached fluency? Okay? So, two questions that you need to ask. I'm assuming that the video is okay. Yes. Okay. Luis Carlos, I don't know why you don't see the video, but okay. All right. So, again, coming back here, what you need to identify in order to reach fluency is, when will you know that you're fluent? When will you feel fluent? And when will you feel that you've reached fluency? So think about that question and answer the question. I think I will be fluent when, and give a concrete, a specific example of when you think you will be fluent and when you will feel that you have reached fluency. I think I will feel that I have reached fluency when I can. So what are those going to be? When you've identified those answers and when you've answered those two questions, you are going to be closer to English fluency because you've identified what fluency means specifically to you, your English needs, and your goals. Specifically, the answers to those two questions are going to be what your goals are. For example, some students say, I know that I will be fluent in English, or I will feel that I've reached fluency in English when I get a 27 on the TOEFL speaking. I will feel that I will be fluent when I get a 27 on the speaking, or similar to what Douglas said, I will feel that I've reached fluency when I can watch a movie or a TV series without subtitles. These are going to be clear, direct, definite, and goals that are realistic and goals that you are able to achieve. So we are fluent when we can stop thinking in our native language so the words come out naturally out of our mouths. So setting realistic goals. How can you set realistic goals? What are realistic goals? Realistic goals are the goals that you are able to achieve. They're clear and they're direct. So a realistic goal is, I want to be fluent in English. Again, because what is English fluency? It's going to be a little bit different for everyone learning. So to identify what fluency means to you, to identify your goals, and to set up realistic goals, you have to answer the question, questions. When will you know that you're fluent in English, and when will you feel that you've reached fluency? Those are going to be your goals, and when you identify and set those goals, then you can take the steps that you need to achieve them. Realistic goal is what's important here, and trying to be specific. So we have expressing ourselves without hesitation as a goal, watching movies without subtitles, fluency when I get to speak more easily and I get to think in English, yes. Expressing myself with a variety of vocabulary accuracy. That's really important, vocabulary accuracy. If you're feeling stuck, so Adriana, maybe you said you didn't have a goal. If you're watching the video and you feel like, I'm not sure what my goal is, I want to give you a couple of other common goals that other learners have had, other learners have expressed, or common language learning goals in a general sense. Trying to get specific. So I know that I will be fluent in English when I have a strong understanding of the questions in a job interview. I'm able to confidently answer them. How about that? How about going for a job interview in English, understanding all of the questions that are being asked, and better, being able to answer more confidently? That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. That sounds like a good goal. It's concrete, and it gives you things that you can work towards. Maybe you're living in an English-speaking country, or you want to go to an English-speaking country, and you want to be able to go to the grocery store, the supermarket, and speak comfortably and confidently with the cashier. Now, maybe that seems like a really easy goal, or maybe that doesn't really seem like a goal, but it's overcoming the fear of speaking with a stranger, overcoming the fear of using English, and the goal is to be able to confidently and comfortably talk with another native speaker in a natural situation or setting. Maybe you want to learn 10 phrasal verbs a month, and you want to remember how to use them later. Maybe not just phrasal verbs, maybe it's vocabulary. Maybe you want to review vocabulary. You want to learn how to use it accurately, and you want to remember how to use it later. That's another goal, another option. We haven't really talked much about reading. People forget reading. People forget the importance of reading. So if you want to set up a reading goal, maybe your goal can be the speed that you read, how many words you read per minute. The average adult American, or the average adult English speaker, I should say, reads about 300 words per minute. So maybe that's your goal. You want to be able to read in English for 300 words per minute. A lot of Brazilians are here, right? A lot of Brazilians are watching this video, and it's not just Brazilians that have a difficulty with this sound, but maybe you want to perfect the ED ending sounds because there are a few of them and they're kind of tricky. Maybe you want to minimize your accent, you want to improve pronunciation. So these are some examples of concrete goals, of setting goals. Some goal examples that you can take if you don't really have any, and things that you can think about to help you reach fluency. Again, be careful with the word fluent and the goal of, I want to be fluent in English. Hopefully you've realized that that's not a clear enough goal, that's not a direct enough goal, because to be fluent in English might be a little bit different for each individual. And these specifics are definitely going to vary from people to people. I want to nail a job interview. Adriana says, I will know I feel comfortable to apply for that English interview. Yes. Pauline, to write an essay that doesn't sound like it has been written by a non-native speaker. Excellent goal. So writing, we didn't really talk about writing goals. All right. You're watching live, you're watching the replay. We've talked a little bit about fluency. You have learned what fluency is and how to define it for you. We've reviewed the questions that you need to ask yourself to identify English fluency for you. And we've talked about how you can think about and set realistic goals. And we've talked a little bit about what some of those goals examples are. So let's talk a little bit about how you can achieve them, because that's what you want and that's what you need. You want to achieve these goals. So once you've decided what they are, you want to take the steps to achieve them. So when you sit down to study English, when you sit down to do something in English, I want you to think in English and say aloud in English what you're doing and why you're doing that specific activity and how it's helping you reach your goal. And I want you to do that every time you actively sit down to study English. This is going to help you start thinking in English. This is going to help you start vocalizing and communicating in English. And it's going to always get you to think about your goal, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it can help you. And this is so, so, so important for reaching the goals that you need. So for example, right now, you are watching Jennifer's English lesson. Why? Because it's going to help with your listening skills. It's going to connect you to native-like pronunciation and expressions. And it's going to help you improve your skills for everyday English use. These everyday English skills, these videos, what I learned with Jennifer is going to help my conversational abilities, and it's going to help me watch a movie with no subtitles, or it's going to help me nail that job interview. It's going to help me write a better essay. So you want to be thinking about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it's connecting you to your goal. Actively do that before you sit down to study. I love a quick question from Patrick A. What does realistic mean and how is it defined? For a realistic goal, it's definitely something that you think about in terms of you, yourself, your limitations, your strengths, and your weaknesses. Realistic is going to be different for everybody. Somebody who has 5 hours a day, 5 times a week, might have an easier time to achieve a goal faster. So somebody who has 5 hours a day and can study 5 days per week might say, I want to be able to watch a TV show with no subtitles by the end of the month. If someone's only able to study 1 hour, 1 time per week, that same 1 month goal might not be realistic. So realistic is going to be depending on you, your strengths, your weaknesses, your schedule, your goal, how difficult it is, your current level. So when you set a realistic goal, it's always thinking about you, your schedule, and your abilities and your limitations. Luis Carlos de Souza getting really specific and an easy answer. Realistic is something doable. It's something you're able to do. And this is why I want to be fluent in English. I want to speak like a native speaker. Is that a realistic goal? You know, what's your timeline for that goal? Because reaching native-like fluency is so difficult because there's so many parts of it. Now, I'm not saying it's not realistic, but it's just maybe not the best goal that you can set for the immediate short term. Set a smaller goal that's more doable, that's easier to achieve. Give yourself the ability to measure the progress of that goal. That's why it's important for it to be measurable, something that you can measure and check. And that is, to me, what a realistic goal is. Coming back to how we can achieve those goals, all right? You can achieve those goals by, I recommend, before you study, say what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it's going to help you reach your goal, all right? And you always want to be thinking about that. So let's say you want to improve your listening skills. Maybe listening skills are related to your goal. Subtitles without, or movies without subtitles, and this type of goal will help. So number one, what can you do? You're doing something great right now by listening and watching this YouTube video. Listening to videos, listening to native speakers use videos. Listening to not just English training videos, but watch videos from English speakers for English speakers to see how it's used naturally. If you want a really big challenge for listening, look at the YouTube channel V, like V in violin, Vsauce. Vsauce is a YouTube channel giving information about random, interesting topics. And the guy speaks so fast. He speaks like this when he talks about it. He speaks so fast. So that is something that can help train your listening skills. There are hundreds of other YouTube channels. I know you probably are already subscribed to them, so keep on watching those if you want to improve listening. My podcast. You know that I have a podcast called English Across the Pond. My podcast, English Across the Pond, releases a new episode every Friday with an American English speaker and my British friend, Dan from the UK. That podcast is going to give you listening opportunities for the American and the British accent. If you need to have a connection with the British accent for work, for travel, then definitely getting familiar with different accents will help you. So those are some listening things that you can do. Podcasts, YouTube videos, TVs, movies, reading skills. There is a website I found, and it's going to be in the full blog lesson, and let me put it in the chat box, readingsoft.com. Readingsoft.com will help you identify your reading speed and assess your reading level. That will help you set up your goal if you want to change your reading speed or work on a higher or a faster reading speed. Reading blogs, reading magazines, doing more reading. On my blog, on my website after this lesson, there's going to be some other links that you can click and that you can use to find articles, resources, and other information for other goals. For example, I have several lessons about speaking more fluently, speaking better English. So if you want to listen, or if you want to practice speaking, then go to my website after this video and look at the lesson that I recommend. It's an entire week of speaking, and it gives you 5 activities to improve your speaking. The search bar on the right-hand side of my website, EnglishOutsideTheBox.com, you can search for grammar, present perfect, vocabulary, speaking, writing, TOEFL. You can write what your goal is in there in the chat, in the search box, and find other English lessons that I've done. Now, I'm an English teacher. I'm giving this lesson now, and I've created hundreds of lessons. You're watching this video, which means you're probably liking my style, you're liking what I teach, and so that's why I'm going to continue recommending resources that I've already created for you, for people wanting to learn English. So that's why I'm giving you, obviously, my resources, because I've put my heart and my soul and my passion into creating them, and I want to make sure you can find them and you know that they're there. So that is definitely that. I have a lot of people watching this live video now that have also joined some of my training courses, my training programs, and other more advanced resources and materials that I've created. So if you want, or if you need to improve your English faster, then it might be time to think about a paid course, a training course, or a program where all of the information you need is in one place. So I've given you a lot of tips and a lot of resources. You know, go to this website to do that, search in Google or my website to find this, watch this video to do this, go to this website to do that. So that's a great thing that you can do. The internet has so many resources out there for you. It's going to take time, of course, and a lot of hard work searching different websites and going to different things. So if you want to have all of the information in one place, then I highly, highly recommend you find a training program or a course that fits your goals and fits what you need. The amazing thing about the internet is there are tons of programs and courses and training out there helping you achieve a variety of skills. A variety of skills. So I can only speak for the courses and programs that I have. So I want to tell you watching, if you've never joined or heard about any of my training programs, and you do want to achieve, if you need to achieve English a little faster, I want to quickly tell you what your options are with me. The great news is that I saw Douglas mention something about pronunciation earlier. So going back to the chat, Douglas says, one of my goals is to minimize my Brazilian accent. I'm taking Jennifer's pronunciation course for Portuguese speakers for that, and it is helping me a lot. I know that Louise is also doing that. And yes, so if you are here watching and you speak Portuguese, se você fala português, right, and you need to improve your accent, then as Douglas mentioned, he's taking this course to help minimize his accent and to speak more fluent American English pronunciation. So I have a course that's called Pronúncia de Inglês para Nativos de Língua Portuguesa. Então, é só para brasileiros ou pessoas que falam português. Okay, sorry, that's the only Portuguese I'm going to be speaking. So if you want to improve your pronunciation, if you want to speak more naturally, and if you need to speak with a better American accent and stronger pronunciation skills, then I have this English pronunciation for Portuguese speakers. We talk about the R and the H, the ending ED, the TH, the ending L, the ending M, I versus E, and a lot of difficult areas for pronunciation. Okay, so if you're watching that and you need pronunciation, that course is available for you to use. I also have the Phrasal Verb Conversation Club, and we have Pauline, we have Myra, we have Dora, we have a lot of people that are in the Phrasal Verb Club here as well. And if you want to see a user talking about the Phrasal Verb Club, check my Instagram later, because one of my students created a video saying why. So the Phrasal Verb Conversation Club I created to help you speak more natural English. So you want to speak more natural English, you need more natural English, and I connect you with those opportunities in the Phrasal Verb Club. We review phrasal verbs, how to use them, the different contexts and situations you can use them. We talk about pronunciation. So this week in week 3, I introduce linking principles and common pronunciation principles and areas in American English. You're going to connect with a conversation partner and have group calls. So if you're thinking about your English goal, and your English goal is speaking better, speaking without hesitation, improving vocabulary use or sounding more natural, the Phrasal Verb Club is definitely a training program that can help connect you with the opportunities to improve those goals. And finally, a final training program I have. Again, I'm giving you these training programs to give you the opportunity to find exactly what you need in one place. In one place. So if you are not a Portuguese speaker and you don't want pronunciation, then my pronunciation course is definitely not the training program that you want. You want to find a training program that has everything you need, or the majority of what you need, in one place to make it easier for you, to make it more convenient for you, and to help you achieve a little bit faster. The final option, if your goal is to use better grammar, if your goal is to improve your speaking skills with accurate grammar, so if you need accurate grammar for business, for school, for university, if your grammar is incredibly, incredibly important, better communication with grammar is going to help you with that. Now, that is a self-study e-course that's going to connect you to the most important grammar points, tell you how to use them, give you examples of them being used in conversation with me and another native speaker, and it's going to connect you to more natural English. All of those are available on my website. You can find it, or again, the entire lesson notes of this video are going to be on my website in about within the hour by 10 a.m. So you can go find the links to those courses, more information to those training programs if you're interested and you want to join. If none of those programs sound like they are going to help you, if none of those programs sound like they're going to help you reach your goal, then I recommend going to Google and typing English goal, what your English goal is, and then typing it and trying to find a program in English. Or I have other options. You can send me an email and say, Jennifer, I need to achieve this. What do you have for me? And I can tell you about some other opportunities I may have for you to learn English. So let's have one very quick review of what we learned today. Number one, you want to think about what English fluency is to you by answering the questions. When will you know? When will you feel fluent? When will you know that you are fluent? When will you feel that you've reached fluency? Once you've identified the answers to those questions, that will connect you to your goal, and you want to set realistic goals that you're able to achieve, goals that are doable. You want to think about what you're doing in English all of the time and say aloud, what are you doing in English? Why are you doing it? And how is it going to help you achieve your goal? And then you want to take some steps to achieve those goals. Again, I have some recommendations from the video that you can rewind and play back, or look on my website, EnglishOutsideTheBox.com. And then finally, remember, if you want to learn faster, that is when you should think about investing in your English and finding a training program or course that's going to connect you to what you need in one place with high quality and great content. So this was a great lesson. There was so much engagement in the chat. I loved it. Edelson Lobo is trying to get me to say difficult words in Portuguese. We have a lot of people helping each other in the chat. Patrick said the minimum recommended time to spend learning every day. And do you think it's necessary to practice our skills daily? If not, so Patrick, you want to study as much as you can, as often as you can, and as much as your schedule will allow. There's no surprise that you are able to learn a language faster when you're living in the country that speaks that language, because you're connected and surrounded with that target language. So if you're in a non-English speaking country and you need to improve your English speaking, then you need to surround yourself and be speaking as much English as possible all the time. There's no recommended daily time. It's all about finding what works for you and doing it as much as you can. We are going to end this lesson. Remember, you can find everything you need on my website, EnglishOutsideTheBox.com. If you haven't joined the resource library, you can join the resource library by clicking on the link below this description or just going to my website. If you want to connect more with me, that's what I recommend, going to my website, and you will find everything you need to know. This YouTube channel also has hundreds of lessons for you to review about pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, you name it. Make sure you come back on Saturday for a 60-second Saturday lesson, and join me here every Tuesday at this same time, 8:30 a.m. PST, Los Angeles. If you have any questions, keep talking below the comment box. Thank you so much for learning with me. Keep on rocking your English, and I'll see you next week. Happy studying. Bye-bye, guys.